a lot of unique, talented individuals already. So bringing them on the podcast and sharing their stories, we also hope to bring inspiration not only to our viewers, but hopefully to the whole world. We want to take that next step with them and show them what they're really about.
All right, guys, welcome to the first podcast. Welcome to the Artistry Drop.
Let's go.
Let's go. Super excited for this. This has been a minute. We've been planning this for almost a year since last year. Actually, even before COVID hit. This is something we've been wanting to do for a minute, and we out here now, finally doing it. Yeah. It took us a year, guys.
More than a year. I think COVID really stopped everything for a lot of people, but we'll touch into that a little bit later.
Yeah.
First, let's just introduce ourselves.
Yeah, so, let's go ahead and introduce the podcast itself. Right. So, sorry, guys, we are 3 shots deep right now, too. We had to take a little drink before doing this podcast, so, but, if we mess up, it is what it is. But we are super excited for this. We're gonna be our true selves, and just be our true selves, guys. There's all right. So
my boy going through it. My boy, it's gonna be a fun podcast.
It will.
Yeah, stay tuned. Stay tuned. You're gonna want to see everything.
Oh, you will definitely. It's really hot in here too. If you guys don't know, we actually live in LA.
On the second floor.
On the second floor. So, you guys should know when you're up higher, it's going to be super hot. So, We might be sweating. You guys might see a little sweat drizzling down my face, his face. I mean,
it'll be everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. What can the people expect from my podcast?
All right, guys. Yeah. So, what you guys can expect from the Artistry Drop is a lot of dope upcoming artists. We really made this podcast to introduce a lot of artists because, us ourselves, we're photographers, filmmakers, and stuff. We'll get more into that into the podcast. But we wanted to make a platform that allows people to talk about their story, their come up, and even for myself, I have been on a couple podcasts already, but it truly is hard getting onto podcasts. And I know there are a lot of people that definitely want to speak on their story and get on podcasts, and it may be hard for those people. So our platform is open for of course, people that we see their come up, and we want to bring them on and have them talk about their story, their come up, and what they're still pursuing, even if they are already successful, because the grind never stops. There's always something else that you guys add to your dream list or your goal list. So we definitely want to bring artists, whether you're a musician, filmmaker, photographer, an actual artist like a drawer, model, anything in art, guys. So we are super excited for this, and hope you guys subscribe to us, follow us on Spotify, and you're gonna be.
We got some big names on the list.
We
already.
Do. Yeah, we do.
It's already been a good launch so far, and we've got a lot of traction from a lot of people just by posting our setup. Because we want to be taken seriously to a lot of people, not only to upcoming artists but also to established artists. We want to build that platform to really help people get exposure for people who like us, and we also. Besides photography, we also shoot a lot of music videos and start trying to build our own production team. And we meet a lot of unique, talented individuals already. So bringing them on the podcast and sharing their stories, we also hope to bring inspiration not only to our viewers, but, hopefully to the whole world. We want to take that next step with them and show them what they're really about. So
I honestly would say that's another reason too, is we made this podcast strictly to inspire other people, and us, because of course us as artists too, we're inspired by other people, and we want to talk about our story and help other people try to help them on their come up, because of course for us too, it's been a struggle. It hasn't been easy for us, but we want to show that anything is possible. Like, that's my tagline now,
Yeah.
guys. That's my tagline.
Ever since this year, anything is possible. That's
honestly,
that's his quote.
It is
for the year.
Yes, anything is possible, guys. So we're excited for this. We're excited to bring on the big guests. We got a good lineup. So we're super excited for it. But yeah. So let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. If you guys don't already know us, we already got into the Artistry Drop and what that's all about, but I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself first. My name is Corey. I'm 34. Unfortunately, I do
God
look...
Damn. You need to play one of those sounds. Got him.
Got him. Yep.
Yeah. Damn. 34. No. Let that
guys.
sink in.
No, but...
Because look at his face.
Yeah.
And then imagine a 34-year-old. Let's like put a comparison. He definitely has more wrinkles.
Hell no. No, like
in all
honest
seriousness, like he doesn't look 34. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Nobody believes him.
Yeah, nobody does believe me, and it's crazy. I get it from my dad, honestly. My dad is 63, and he's super young, guys. It's the Filipino genes in me, I guess. So
no raisin.
Yeah. So my name is Corey, 34. Originally from Seattle. That's my hometown. And we'll get into like education and some of that stuff later. But let's go ahead and let John introduce himself.
Hey, my name is John Sandara, aka Nipple Boy,
Small
aka the biggest one in here, and I'm not talking about my height. I'm talking about my height down there.
No.
I'm the biggest.
No. That's a small one for real, guys.
No, all seriousness, my name is John Sandara. I was originally a dancer. I've been dancing for like more than 10 years. I used to host a lot of dance events back in Seattle, where I was born. I was actually born there and then moved down to California, Fresno, California. Grew up there till I was about 12 years old. Then I moved back to Seattle and lived there for all my middle school and high school years, and then finally moved back down to LA. So I've been in and out, back and forth, but I am a Seattle native, and grew up in the Pacific Northwest in the dance community, made a huge impact on the battling and competition scene, and also made a huge impact into me. And then I transitioned into photography, which I do now professionally, and
No, that's good. Hey, I love the story. The story. We actually forgot to introduce the drink of the day, guys. This is something, by Nipple Boy, John himself. So this is something we're going to have on every single episode. So if you're a guest on our show, guys, you are getting a signature cocktail. Yes, so let's go ahead and let John kind of talk about the whole drink of the day, how we came up with it.
I think my Starbucks barista skills came into handy. I started being...
Damn, that is fire, though.
Yeah, I started making my way, creeping into a bartender position. I've never actually been a real bartender, just in the kitchen, but, every now and then I'd be cooking up some heat. And I found a recipe about... I'm all about whiskey sour. That's my, go-to every time I go to the bar. And I found a different variation. This is called the Whiskey Smash.
The Whiskey Smash.
The Whiskey Smash.
There you go.
You gotta muddle the mint and the lemon inside the shaker, and then you add your whiskey, and then you add your ice. You shake it up, strain it, put it in, get some ice on there, and sprinkle some sparkling soda. And
hey, it's fire.
That is it.
It's really good. I took
Simple,
the first
quick.
sip. Yeah, really good. So
and it got 2.5 shots in there, so you're gonna see my boy go crazy.
Guys, like I said, we're already 3 shots in too. So we'll see how this podcast goes. I may pass out in the next 20 minutes. We'll see how it goes, guys. Yeah, I honestly when I'm buzzed, I don't do too well. Especially when it comes to gaming, and we used to stream, so we would take shots before we stream, and that never goes well for me. So,
and then tell them about the time I always I beat you 3 or 4 times in chess because we were drinking, Every time we were drinking and playing chess, I would always beat this man.
Okay, yeah. So that's another thing we'll talk about. So during COVID, obviously, you know, we're all locked up. We bought a chessboard and all that stuff. So,
right.
you know, before we play, we take shots. We'll drink cocktails, whatever. But yeah, he kills me every time. But you do have to admit, I do get you when I don't drink. So
I mean, yeah. That's your secret.
Yeah. So no, guys, like I honestly don't do too well with the drinking thing and multitasking, but we're gonna have some fun. And you know, this is, like I said, I'm gonna have to get used to this because this is something we're gonna be doing like every single podcast.
Yeah, we're gonna have a signature cocktail every podcast.
Every podcast,
it's gonna be something different every time. Your boy is gonna be pushed to the limits. I'm gonna be trying to making some fancy stuff, so you guys are gonna see it on camera. Every episode. I'm pretty hyped about that.
Yeah, let's
go.
Big
foodie.
Yeah.
But aside from that, let's talk about going into the film industry, going into photography.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, let's still do like the introduction of ourselves. Like, so, let's talk about education. You know, we'll kind of get into both of us, what we've done and so far, and you know, get into the goals and dreams that we're trying to get to, you know. So yeah, for me, you know, I'll be honest, guys, I didn't graduate. I had to get my GED. I didn't do too well in high school, but hey, you know, I went back, got my GED, and I attended the Art Institute of Seattle, which is a film school. And you know, I really pushed myself because, you know, like I wanted to learn a lot more about, you know, the film industry. So I thought Art Institute, it being the closest thing, get into there, got
it's
accepted.
Really hype too.
No,
back in Seattle.
Yeah, no, it was a super hype school, but it went to shit. Like, you know, the school's done. Like everybody had to get kicked out and moved to like different schools and shit like that.
Then what happened?
I honestly don't know. Like, I'm glad I left.
You said they went bankrupt though.
Yeah, they went bankrupt. Yeah. I'm glad I got out of there before that even happened. You know,
that's crazy.
Yeah, so you know, I went there from 2013. 2015, and I actually came down to here in LA for vacation, and I ended up finding about the LA Film School, and I applied for that, and within like the next couple weeks, you know, they ended up accepting me. So I was like, oh fuck, like okay, I gotta go through the whole process now of switching over from Art Institute over to LA Film, and it was a smooth process, and honestly, I was super grateful to get into the LA Film. It's an awesome school. I did do everything like online. John knows this already, but yeah, I did everything online. And honestly, I feel like even with everything online, like I learned a lot more than I did at like on campus at the Art Institute. Even though everything was hands-on, LA Film taught me a lot more, you know. So, but yeah, attended 2015, graduated 2019 with my bachelor's in film. And yeah, guys, like honestly, ever since then, like a lot of dope things, you know, have happened for me. We'll get into that more later, but I also want to get into like, you know, some of the goals, you know, and dreams I've had. Like the biggest goal I'd say was like moving down here to LA to pursue like the film industry and everything, you know. And you know, there is so many times that I was trying to move down here and everything, you know, things were always in the road. It blocked me from moving down here, whether it was like, I don't know, I couldn't get a job. Because, guys, one tip is you got to get a job out here before, like, anything. Like, get a job and then move out here. Don't try to move out here without any, like, you know, securing a job, because you
that
just
was a long process.
It was, like... Guys, I started this process, like, of trying to move down here, I think, 2016, 2015, right when I got accepted to LA Film. So it took a while, but, you know, we finally got down to here 4 years later. And, guys, it's amazing, you know, like, once you actually set your mind to something, trust me, you can make it happen. It may take a minute, but, guys, look what happened to me, you know, like, it took me 4 years just to get the goal of moving down to LA, and I'm here now, you know. So yeah, I mean that
also didn't have me with Dick Black.
No, hell no.
Then we moved down together.
No, we'll get into that.
Yeah.
We have a lot of things to talk about, guys. So I mean, but yeah, so like I still have goals getting into to the actual film industry. One good thing that just recently happened is I'm part of the Academy, the Oscars guys. I'm part of the media production team there. So right now we're working with the Academy Museum. A lot of the films and montages you see in there I've worked on, and it's awesome, guys. Like this is a step towards the actual film industry. Like the main goal I would say is like I want to be on set as like a camera op or a steady cam op, working on Marvel or like so that's definitely one of my end goals. I definitely have a lot more like goals and dreams on the list, but I'm not gonna get too much into that. I'll let John take over and speak on his because I know he definitely has a lot to.
Yeah, I mean, like definitely education was always like a gray area for me. Of course, like being Asian and having Asian parents, also like having that stigma of like always growing up in the health industry and becoming a doctor or working something in the health industry. Both of my parents were in the health industry, so I obviously went to school. Originally, I was in school for being a radiology tech, but then I had a tutor that was actually a substitute teacher for a different college, and when he was tutoring me, he was telling me about all these curriculums to get into that radiology program, and he was saying he got straight A's, but he got a B in one of the classes, and that B alone was keeping him from getting into the radiology program. And once I heard that, I was like, I'm in the wrong place. I am not a straight A student. I'm like a B student, maybe some C's. But
no, he's an F.
No, I'm definitely not an F student.
I'm just playing.
But yeah, straight B's, some C's. I'm definitely not nowhere A's. A's on the easy class. Yeah. But once I heard that, I was like, maybe I'm in the wrong industry.
No, I do remember like because I did ask you about school and stuff like that, and he did take a break for a minute too. So.
Yeah, and then after that, I moved into business administration. I've always wanted to open my own business, so I started into that, and then that's around the time I picked up photography, and around the business administration. Before I get into photography, I'm gonna talk about business. I was actually, dancing all the time, performing. Some shows I would get paid, some shows I wouldn't. I had a dance group at the time. I would perform with other people as well. And then, so during that time, my goal was to open my own studio. That was like my all-time goal I was setting. So that was why I went to business administration as well. And, possibly semi-medical field related to pay the bills. I was thinking about being a health administration, and so yeah, there was the back and forth. But then once I got into the photography, then I was like, wow, this is actually something.
It's a different world.
Yeah, it's a different world. I could actually see myself doing it full time. And I actually, during that transition from dance to photography, I felt like it was actually easier, and I had more of an eye for photography, I feel like, than I did with dance. Dance came more naturally, but I feel like talent-wise, I had a better perspective when it came to photography, and then moved into film. And then when I did that transition, I was like, wow, this is really something. Like, I could really run with this. And then that's when I met Corey, and we started becoming a team. He taught me a lot when I was first starting.
That's the big one.
And then now he's a small one. Put him back.
No.
And then so yeah, now we're back. We're down in LA. I'm definitely thinking about going to LA Film. I've only heard good things about that with Corey. I don't really know what I want to do as far as the film industry goes. You know, there's so many roles and so many things, and I feel like, you know, you kind of have to be good at multiple things in order to have like a steady income, because you know, different production teams need different things.
No, and that's you know that's another thing they teach you at film school, is to run different roles. You know, you learn literally everything in film school. You know, so you're gearing up for, you know, finding what you want to do in the film industry, and that's the thing. It's like it's hard to figure out what works for you, because not everybody wants to be a director. Not everybody wants to be a gripper, and you know, some people don't want to be a camera operator. So it is something you kind of learn. You learn
every role.
Exactly. Yeah, and then you kind of figure out from there through going film school what actually works for you. You know, so
okay. Yeah, so that's like my goals. You know, obviously my other goal is to, you know, the reason why we moved down here in the first place was to open our own studio. You know, our photography and film studio, and you know, having a certain place that has different themed, you know, little photography and film studios. I won't touch on it that much, because
that's a secret,
it is
guys.
our idea.
Yeah,
we haven't put it out there in the world, so I don't want anybody taking it. So it is unique to us, and that's the reason why we came down here, is because we know we could do something different than everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, to touch on that, like, guys, it is super hard to start a business. Like, you do have to have a lot of capital, you know, for your business. And you know, we did go through the whole process. My dad is definitely one of the lead money.
Shout out to Pops.
Yeah, shout out to Pops. Yeah. He's the guy that holds the money. You know, we did go through the whole
LLC.
LLC. Yeah. We actually made it an actual business.
But then COVID hit too.
Yeah, that's another thing, guys.
We were going to the leasing process. We're looking at locations. Yeah. Right before COVID, everything was.
Yeah, we'll touch base more on COVID, because we. All right, guys, we are back. Sorry, there's a technical issue.
We're still our first podcast.
It's our first podcast. I can't even speak. I can't even speak right now, guys. We into it deep right now, okay? But we had technical issues. We're gonna try to fix this all before we have our first official guest.
That's why we started with us.
That's why we started with us only, and this is a good test run for us. So hopefully we can improve a lot better for the next one, and we'll get back into what we were talking about. We're talking about our business. So we got it, we got the LLC, we got everything, and like I said, the thing about running a business is you do have to have a lot of capital, and it's not something we necessarily have, and we did get a loan. I won't touch base on how much we got. We got a lot, but it's still not enough for what we want to do, guys, because what the studio we have the idea for, it's crazy. Like, we have the whole business plan and everything. We went through that whole process, and that's how we were able to get the loan. And like I said, it's really hard to, run a business when you don't have a lot of capital off of like the idea you have.
Right.
I'm sorry, guys. But so like it is truly hard, and we're looking to still do it. That's still in in our plan
hopefully
right now.
By next year.
Yeah, hopefully by next year. It's something we still have to talk to Pops about, and figure all that out, because he is the man with the money. Yes. So we'll figure it out, and you guys will find it on a podcast.
That is one of our goals. That's why we moved down here.
Exactly.
We definitely needed to rethink and reassess how we're going about it. So I think taking this year and really planning on how we could have executed better for next year is something definitely what we needed. And I feel like a lot of people during COVID took that time as well to like reassess themselves, and we'll touch about all of that a little bit more. But taking it one step back to take two steps forward, exactly where we're at right now. And during COVID, we had to take a step back, and then I feel like now things are starting to build up, as people are, wearing less mask, you know, if you're vaccinated and stuff, because last year everybody was wearing masks.
Yeah.
You know, everybody was.
Exactly.
You know, it was a total shutdown. So,
Yeah.
but that's a whole different topic. Moving down, that's one of our goals. One of our biggest dreams is starting a production company. And, you know, we're going through the process now.
Like, we literally have already started the process. I mean, you know, I've slowly built a team. We got John as my assistant director. I'm the director and also camera operator. Right now, I'm in the process of trying to teach John how to be a Steadicam operator, so I don't put all the stress on my back because
getting old, 34.
No, like, no joke,
back.
guys. No joke. Like, in like 2 or 3 weeks ago, like, my chest, my rib area, he knows this. Like, my chest area was just in pain. Like, I couldn't lift anything, and guys, it's hard being a Steadicam operator, and this is pretty much like my first time taking on a big task like that. Right. You know, I've usually only used gimbals. I'm not gonna touch on the gimbals, and we can talk.
It's bad when the half white, half Asian man puts down the Bengay and goes for Tiger Bomb.
Hey guys, I stick to the Asian roots. Like, you know, like Tiger Bomb is definitely something a lot of Asians use, and
it works.
It works. So,
it smells really
bad
and strong, but
yes, it does. But honestly, I've been around Tiger Bomb for so long, and I just know the power it holds. You know, so
Tiger.
Yeah, no, it is. You know, like, I had to resort to it, guys. That's how bad it was. So if you haven't used Tiger Bomb for your back or whatever, like, it's time.
10 times stronger than Bengay.
It is. Yeah. No, it's time to get into it, guys. But yeah, getting back into like the whole, like, you know, production team, you know, we did get into it. You know, we got my girlfriend, she's the designer. We got a creative director as Liz, and you know, and I'm slowly still trying to branch out. You know, I want to get more camera operators and all that stuff, you know, so we can actually do what we want to do. You can assist and direct. I can direct exactly how I want to. It's so hard being, you know, a director and being a camera operator when, you know, like, that's why, like, I'm super thankful for having John on the team, because, like, he's able to hype up the artist while I'm also, like, you know, that's the goal of our pre-production is I already hand off exactly what I'm looking for. So technically, you know, he is using my direction and putting it out while I'm camera operating, and that's super helpful, you know. And of course, you know, he's always adding extra, and that helps a lot. And, you know, this is the goal with the production team. Like, we want to just branch out and have a lot of people in there, you know. So yeah, I'm excited for that. But yeah, let's go ahead and, you know, touch base a little bit more about, like, our personal life and stuff. And then we'll kind of branch out a little bit. But how me and John met, guys, it was crazy. Like I said, I mean, me and John are best friends, and, like,
how long? Tell them how long.
How long? Damn, it's almost been about 7 years. No, 8 years. Yeah, it's about 8 years now. No, 8. 8? Correcting you.
Oh, when's our anniversary?
Our anniversary is coming up in December, I think.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I feel such a like.
Yeah, 8-year anniversary. It's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah. And we're both going to Seattle. Back home.
Super excited. But yeah, no. So, you know, how we met was it was 2013, and, you know, I had just went into the Art Institute, and I was trying to branch out, reach out to other dancers, because the goal was, like, to film a video for dancers, and also this was like a project for school and stuff like that. So I was trying to branch out. So reached out on a Facebook page, dance page. I was, like, surprised I got accepted to it. Like, I'm not a dancer or anything, you know. So so they accepted me, and I put out. It runs in the blood. That's just how it is.
There's a lot of Asian dancers.
No, there is, especially in Seattle. Like, guys, there's tons. But so, you know, I put out a post on Facebook, and our friend Robin, which is, like, you know, John's best friend. Like, that's just, like, his brother, you know. And he reached out to me and said, you know, they were down, and I was like, okay. So, you know, we went from there, and we set up a day, film a dance video. I had no idea what we were filming or anything. Like, we just went into it, guys. Like, during this time, like, I wasn't at a professional level. Like, I wasn't doing a pre-production or anything. I just want,
guerrilla style stuff.
Exactly, yeah. I just wanted to film video content. That was the goal, you know. And I had just started film school, so you know, I didn't necessarily know the process and stuff like that. So finally met up with him. Robin wasn't there. I actually met with John at the location first.
And it was love at first.
I mean, it was technically. No, but yeah. So you know, it was me and John, and then I think Riddles came through even before Robin came. Yeah, Riddles came through as well, which is another one of our friends. He's a dancer as well. But yeah, Robin was late as usual. You know, so that's why. Yeah, so that's why I didn't meet with him first. But you know, like pretty much from that day on, like me and John just created a bond, a good friendship, and you know, it's crazy how, you know, we're here now. We're roommates, and you know, like
super random meet.
It is.
Good.
Yeah, you just never know, honestly. But you know, like ever since then, we just always have hung out and, you know, create content together. You know, we did a lot of photo shoots and video shoots, and then it got to the point, you know, like he touched base on it already where, you know, he got into photography, and that's why I told him, I actually convinced him. I was like, bro, like, you know, maybe you should give it a try. I'll bring you over to some of my photo shoots and, you know,
before he brought me on though, I would practice with him and his camera, and I would take his camera and try to practice on some models before I bought my own camera to see, you know, if I really wanted to do it. And I've always been, you know, I feel like everybody in high school has their like stages. You know, I feel like people had a dance phase, people had like photography phase, people had a singing phase type of thing. I've had a photography phase in high school, so it was something that, like, you know, it was fun, but I didn't really think about pursuing it as an actual career. And then, so once I met Corey and started borrowing his camera, I was like, you know, I'm actually kind of good at this. So I bought my own camera. Then he would bring me on to shoots, and we would schedule the same model. He would schedule a model, and then he would tell the model, hey, you know, is it cool? You know, I have a friend who's wanting to get into photography, and I want to bring him along. He's going to take some shots of you. And a lot of them were cool with it. So I would tag along, shoot the, I mean, obviously I try to be different from him with my own photography, but I would use the techniques that he was using with the model. And I was like, okay, this is how you do it. Yeah. And then ever since then, I was able to branch off and use what I learned from him to apply it to my own. And now
we're here. Yeah, now we're here. I mean, like I said, like, you know, with him being like my best friend, and, you know, like, honestly, guys, like, I wanted to teach him, you know, like, it wasn't for me so much. It was just, I love teaching people, and I love, like, helping people out. You know, that's just who I am. Like,
this podcast was great. You're trying to help people.
No, exactly. And like I said, guys, like, this is the reason for this podcast, is because we do want to allow other people to speak on, you know, their story and inspire other people. That's a goal. And, you know, I hope you guys are going to like the whole goal of this podcast, and we'll see where it goes. But
it comes from a genuine place.
Yeah.
Because, you know, a lot of people in the entertainment industry,
there's a lot of clout chasers.
Clout chasers just doing it for the clout, and, you know, don't really want to help the person. They want to benefit from the connection that they can make from the person, you know? So us being here, being a genuine, you know, platform to actually help the people to push their passion and push their industry to the next level is, like, you know, that's what we're here for, you know?
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, you know, like, this is also how I know, like, I'm not trying to, like, be cocky about myself or anything, like, but with me running my personal YouTube channel, if you guys are not subscribed already, I do a lot of photography, videography, tutorials, and stuff like that. And, you know, there have been a lot of comments from people saying, you know, like, thank you, you know, they appreciate the help and, you know, stuff like that. And they've even mentioned that, you know, they've never found anybody else that goes too in depth because they keep it for themselves. Like, guys, like, I'm here trying to help the community, you know, like, I know this community can tend to get toxic
Yeah.
And, you know, I try to stay away from toxicity and stuff like that. But, like, I'm just the type of person that really loves helping and trying to help, you know, people get to the next level. And that was the reason why I started my YouTube channel. Unfortunately, I haven't been, you know, as active on it. I'm trying to get back on it. I really want to do more vlogs. Definitely going to do more tutorials and stuff here and there. But, guys, I'm the type of person that really wants to just, like, you know, help people in pursuing whatever they're trying to achieve, you know. Right. So that's the reason why this podcast was, you know.
I love helping people too, you know. That's why I'm still working in the medical field. It's because I love helping people. I love seeing other people smile. I find happiness when other people are happy. Mm-hmm. So, like, for me, that fulfills my own personal goals. So that's why I'm still in the medical field. But there's also people who we've brought on to our production group, or, you know, who people, you know, like Gabe was one of our people who we kind of trained and kind of winged on and, you know, showed them the ropes. You know, we're always, you know, even if you DM one of us, we will actually, like, you know, try to help you and give you tips and stuff like that. So it's never about, like, cloud chasing or having too many followers type of thing. You know, we're always open to help anybody out there. And that's why we got this podcast, because we know we're good at helping people. And we know, like, it comes from a genuine place, and that is what the guest is going to vibe off of and open up to more, because, you know, we don't come from a malicious entertainment industry kind of mindset, you know. So yeah, I feel like
guys, that deserves a round of applause. Hey. He said it a little bit better than I could have, but, you know, he used the term malicious, so it's like, guys, you use terminology like that, you already know.
Big words.
No, guys, like I said, I hope you enjoyed this podcast, and, you know, the future people coming on, they're gonna explain their whole story, and hopefully that inspires. We may be saying that repetitive, but, guys, we want you to follow us, and, you know, we want to allow you guys to be inspired by people that we bring on. So, you know, this is not meant for clout. This is meant for inspiration. So if you guys want inspiration, follow us, subscribe to our channel, follow us on Spotify.
Whether you're in the industry or you're even thinking about getting into the industry, and, you know, it's just something that you do on the side. You're doing it for fun. You're not really serious about it, but you're kind of interested. This is the podcast you want to be a part of.
No, guys, we're like I mentioned before, we're gonna have all artists. Like, it doesn't matter what you are, and you're on the come up. You guys come share your story, inspire others, and this is what this platform is gonna be used for. So, we're excited, like I said. But let's go ahead and jump into the next thing. So there's a lot of controversy about, like, film school and art school and stuff. And, you know, since I've attended it, I've already had, like, the experience of, you know, knowing how it is, you know, and of course, like, being on YouTube and such. John hasn't gone to art or film school yet, so
I'm on the other side.
He's on the other side right now, but you know, I'm sure he has some opinions as well. But I'm gonna make this short, guys. Film school is definitely worth it if you're trying to get into the film industry. I would not say, like, if you're gonna be a person that just, like, shoots YouTube videos and such, like
music videos.
Yeah, music videos. Like, honestly, like, guys, you could save yourself money and not go to film school, because that is something you can definitely learn on your own and watch a lot of YouTube tutorials.
And just make it off of the pure connections that you make.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, like I said, like, film school is only worth it if you're planning to go to or make it in the film industry, like Marvel, Universal, like Sony, like big places like that. Like, it is good to go to film school if you're trying to make it in the film industry with big places like that. But like I said, I mean, the fact for me why I went to film school is for that specific reason. I would have known this already too, about going to film school, if it wasn't, like, my intent has always been to try to get on big film sets, like being a Steadicam operator, whatever. Like, that's just a goal for me. You know, music videos or production, that's a side hustle. But still, the main goal for me is, like, to work on these big productions, you know. So, Yeah, I mean, like I said, for me, you guys can drop comments in the comments below, and specify what you think about it. But for me, that's what I think is, if you're not trying to get in the film industry with like Universal or anything big like that, don't go to film school, guys. Just learn it on YouTube. You know, apply for like, or go on Jacob Owens like music video school if you guys are trying to get into music videos,
Right.
and stuff like that. But yeah, if you're strictly just YouTube, guys, do it on your own. It's easy to learn, and everybody has a story to tell.
Right.
Especially if you are a filmmaker, you're trying to make movies or short films. Everybody has a story to tell. You can learn basic filmmaking on YouTube. So
Right.
that's what I have to say about it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely on the other side as well. I'm at the place where I think most of you guys are too. It's just like, is film school like worth the money? Because
like, let me tell you guys real quick. Like, it's expensive.
Yeah, it is.
I didn't mention that it's expensive. Like,
I think that's why most of us are like hesitant. About joining.
Like
this,
this,
is it worth it?
That's the thing, and like, this will probably steer you guys away. But I'm literally like, I don't want to get into like my debt situation, but just for school itself, like, guys, school is like 100,000.
Right.
LA Film Art Institute, all that stuff, guys. It's expensive to go into film school, and like I said, that's why you really do have to think about like what your end goal is. Are you going to be YouTuber and make films just for YouTube, or are you trying to make it into the film industry?
Right.
So if you think $100,000 is worth it to spend and trying to get in the film industry, do it. I will not lie, I'm super appreciated for film school, because look where I am now, guys. Like, I'm working for the Academy, the Oscars. Like, that's big, and I'm like,
and you couldn't have done it because of the film.
Exactly. I wouldn't have been able to work for them and doing what I'm doing for them now if it wasn't for film school.
Right.
So film school definitely helped me a lot with this side of things. So I'm super appreciated, and I love being part of the Academy. Like, it's crazy. We'll talk about that more later, and kind of what I do with that, maybe on another episode, because we don't want to let this episode run too long, guys. I could talk so much, so we'll talk about that a little later.
Hell yeah. Okay, so now that we touched on what we do and what our passions are, let's dive a little deeper and talk about like, how do we like find out what we're passionate about? Because I think there's a lot of people who are on this podcast who are like into the entertainment industry. Maybe we have a lot of young viewers who are like upcoming and going through those phases like I've talked about in high school. You have a dance phase, you have a singing phase, you have a photography phase, and they don't really know what they're really passionate about. So, Corey, like, how did you like find out you were passionate about film?
Okay, so this is a good subject to talk about. Like, I started off, like when I was in high school, I was making beats. Like, I was using Fruity Loops, and I know a lot of musicians know about this stuff. So, I was using Fruity Loops to make beats, and maybe I should go into like a little story on it, because it is kind of funny now that I think back about it. But so it started off.
Me some of his beats. So. It wasn't great. Guys, you left that behind.
Guys, like, that's in the past, okay? But I will tell a little story about it, because it is funny, and I don't think I ever told you this story, so it might be funny for you as well. But so I started off making beats back in, I want to say 2003-ish, 2004-ish. Guys, I'm still in high school during I'm old, guys. Like,
2003? God damn.
No, like I said, during this time, I'm probably like 17, 18 back in 2003 or 2004. So
I started in elementary.
Damn. Small one for real. No, so I started, I picked up on Fruity Loops, making simple beats, and I watched some tutorials, because YouTube was already a thing during that time. And they did have a little tutorials, so I kind of learned up on Fruity Loops, make beats from there. I got a lot of equipment, MIDI keyboard and all that stuff. So started making beats. You know CJ, of course. Right. So CJ was one of my best friends, CJ. He was getting into rapping as well. So it was like we were a duo. I would make the beats. He would, rap on it. And, we went from there. And then I was like, I saw a couple people on YouTube do like, what was it? They were like rap competitions. Like producers would make a beat. And then, a whole bunch of artists would download it and make their own
like a challenge.
Yeah, like a challenge, like a freestyle challenge. There you go. Yeah. So I made a simple beat and put it up on YouTube, and the thing actually slightly blew up. Like I probably got over a couple thousand to a few thousand views on it, but there's probably over like 50 rappers that actually downloaded it and made it a thing. I'll have to show. I don't know if I showed you on YouTube before, but yeah. So I'll have to show you that. But so that was that's how I kind of started off. Started making more. We did another challenge, and that one actually bigger than the first one. So that was cool, And then I started getting a little known for like music production from just because of YouTube and stuff. But yeah, so I started off making beats. That's pretty much where I started. Yeah. Before I go into where I got to now, I'll tell you the little story. So
how many stories you got? Oh,
I'm old, so I got so many stories to tell. So
let me tell you about this one time. No, let me tell you about the second time.
Okay, so I'll try to keep it short. But
go ahead.
Anyways, so. Yeah, me like I said, me and CJ were like a duo. I'd make the beats, he would rap. Well, end up coming. There's another dude. His name is Terry, and he was also starting to make beats. And he's also Asian, so it's like
it's like a rival.
So we got two Asian. Like I'm half, of course, but like we got two Asian rival beat makers in the same high school. Okay.
Oh shit.
So it started literally just becoming a slight beef. Like I would make something, and CJ actually made a diss track on one of the rappers that was dissing like us because me and CJ were like a duo.
So yeah, you guys were a duo, and then you had this other duo.
Yeah. Who
was like dissing your duo.
Yeah. And then the beats as well. Like I said, like I won't lie, his beats were dope. So I was like, fuck, like okay,
you gotta step it up.
I gotta step it up, you know. So we were literally just going back and forth, and we avoided each other in school. Like we weren't trying to start anything or anything like that. And you know me, like I don't start fights or anything. So it was like we were trying to avoid each other in school. Yeah. But it was a back and forth thing online. So it's like, I'll make a beat, CJ would rap on it, put it out, they would hear it. Terry would make a beat, his rapper would make something, and then fire. So it was going back and forth, and it was just a stupid beef. Like we weren't really beefing, guys. It was just more for fun, There was no fights or anything like that. It was just something, we were upcoming with, and
beef.
Yeah, but the dope thing about him is he's literally now a professional producer.
Oh, really? So and he stuck with it.
He stuck with it, and that's the thing, and his stuff is really good. Okay. For me, guys, that's where I went in a different path, I can get into the whole story. I'm not gonna go too deep into it with the camera stuff.
How was that transition?
It was easy.
What was that transition? Like, how did you know you wanted to move into film?
Yeah. So, that's definitely an easy part. I'll go back to, since I was a kid. My dad had a camcorder, like one of those fat ones. Okay. And I've always used it. I was the one, I'd have to show you when we go back home, but
my dad had a big VHS.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's one of those, But that's what I grew up on, and Pops would let me use the camcorder kind of vlog. Like I said, I have to show you some of the videos I recorded because it was literally vlogging when vlogging wasn't a thing, So, and sorry guys, I burped. But so it was a thing that was already with me. Like it was nothing new for me because I was already I was also doing like stop motion videos when I was a kid, like, filming a car chase, press and record, like animation, exactly like animation. So that's what I was doing when I was a kid. And then I kind of, me, CJ, and our other friend Ben, we were like,
Remember that.
Yeah, you remember this. Yeah. And I've showed in the videos too.
Yes.
Like the videos were stupid, guys.
Yeah.
Like we were just kind of
like coming jackass videos.
Yeah, exactly. No, they were super random and stuff we thought were stupid and funny at the time. So pretty much the idea was like we would start a YouTube channel, and like I said, YouTube was brand new during that time. So we started a YouTube channel. We all split on a flip camera. If you guys know what a flip camera is, like you'll know that thing was super small and bulky and stuff like that for
like the razors.
Exactly. But it was a start for like any upcoming filmmaker or whatever.
It was a camera on a phone that was like non-existent.
It was like I said, it was super bulky. Sorry guys. But yeah, it was super bulky, and that's what we started with. I think we found our first flip camera with $79 or something. So we all split on it, and we sat down, come up with stupid ideas we thought would be funny, and brought the flip camera everywhere. And pretty much from there, guys, that's where I started like loving filmmaking again. It wasn't necessarily filmmaking, but it was like that's where I started to love working with the camera, editing the video and stuff like that. So it came from something that we came up with that we thought was funny, but it wasn't in the. I mean, to me, it's still kind of funny, but it's super random and stupid. But I
have videos like that.
Yeah. So he knows how it is, But like, it was stuff from that point, and literally now where I am, that's just from starting that with just a few friends. Now I'm here. Like,
how was your transition from that to taking it seriously as a career?
It was easy. Like, I wouldn't lie, it was super easy.
But what was that switch? What was, like, that moment?
No, you know what it... Yeah, you know what it was? It was, like... So, we had a time where we had a break where it was like, okay, like, maybe we don't have time to do this. I still continued with it because I enjoyed it. I was having fun. So, I started watching tutorials on After Effects, learning how to clone myself and stuff like that. So, I think it was easy for me because I was willing to learn. Like, I was willing to learn a lot more.
So after those videos, you kept up with it.
Exactly. That's why it was easy, So I just kept up with learning and learning and learning. And that's where I came to the point where I was like, I kind of want to go to film school. Going back, though, I started shooting music videos, I think, 2011. They were the shittiest music videos I've ever seen for myself, And, but that's, I think, with my passion of music, making beats, that's why I kept up with wanting to shoot music videos. So that's why it was continuous. It was flawless for me to kind of move into it. But that's where the passion for music videos came in. And then it came film school. After shooting music videos, I was like, okay, this shit is fun. Like, I want to learn more about it. So that's where I went through film school. And, you guys, I kind of already told you guys the process earlier, but that's how I knew what I wanted to do. That's my passion. Like, I feel like if it's something that you stick with and you want to consistently learn about, you already found your passion. Because what's the point of you wanting to learn more about something? Like, it's not worth it. It's not the time.
If you're already like looking into it, looking at more of YouTube videos after hours, on your own time, you already have more of an interest than a normal person.
Yeah, exactly.
So you already built some type of passion to tap into it. So you should try to run with that as far as you can, because obviously you have an interest. And then obviously we went through a lot of things. Like, you went through music production. I went through dance. Some things, like, you go through and you reach a dead end and you find something else and you go through that. But you never know what that passion might lead you to, there's actually a saying too that, like, your first passion always leads you into the second passion of your career. I don't know who said that, but I've heard it multiple times. And
he doesn't even know.
The more that I hear other people's stories of, like, how people got into the industry, the more I believe it. You with music production moving into film, me with dance moving into the film and photography industry. There's also people who grew up with that the most for, like, all of their life, who danced from they were little to being a professional dancer now, who sing from when they were little to being a professional singer now. So, you know, it doesn't apply to everyone, obviously, but the more I hear other people's stories, the more common I see that it is a common thing. And, you know, back to coming to me, where I found my passion was, you know, everything started actually, I used to be a really nerdy kid, first of all.
I mean, we already know that. I already know that. So,
I mean, you were a
small
nerdy
one
kid too. But yeah, I was always a nerdy kid. I was never cool. I was never part of the cool kids. I was bullied as a middle school student. So there was a whole different aspect of it. But when I moved back to Seattle from California, Fresno, California, I went to this community rec center, and they had dancers, b-boys, and stuff like that. And the b-boys there were actually like brought me in and actually taught me some moves. And then after that, you know, I started getting to dancing. You know, I felt like I was cool because I was super nerdy. I was like, oh, you know, this is a cool thing to do. And then that's when the first season of America's Best Dance Crew aired, and the Jabberwockies were on there. And then after the Jabberwockies were on there, I was like totally hooked. I copied all the routines with no shame, recorded myself, got the mask, got the gloves, got the long sleeve, got the Jabberwocky shirt. I was the Jabberwocky.
Oh.
I was.
He was a groupie.
Yeah, I was the groupie.
He was the groupie, guys.
YouTube. And everybody else. I was joined out of all of them.
Nah.
And then, but that's kind of like where I found my foundation, was from copying their routines. I feel like everybody starts somewhere. But after that, America's Best Dance Crew, after the show like stopped airing, they actually went on tour in every state, and they actually came to Seattle, Washington. And I went to that tour, and there was a battle going on after like the intermission or whatever, and they were inviting people, you know, guests to like come up and battle for free tickets or stuff like that. And I was actually wearing my Jabberwocky shirt, and I went on that stage and I battled. I battled against this random B-girl, and then this other kid, B-boy. His name is B-boy Jaden. He's pretty popular till this day. He's like the smallest, like I think he was like 4 or 5 years old at the time. But wait,
so you're battling against a small ass kid?
Small kid, but he's professionally trained. Oh. He's trained by the Massive Monkeys. He trained like he's done many battles.
Okay, no. I've seen him at the Sonics game.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That Sonics game. Yeah, he's in the industry, but I didn't know because I wasn't in that dance industry yet. Yeah. You know, I was like, oh, this is low kid. Let's do it.
Yeah, it's crazy because I remember, you know, when I would go to the Sonics game and the dancers would. That's the first time I seen him come out. I was like, damn, they got a little kid out here.
Yeah, like, he was doing head spins.
Yeah, he's doing head spins. Like, it's crazy. So
yeah, he was good. But then, you know, first the girl went, and then I went, and I was terrible. And then that was my first battle ever, actually, as well. And it was on stage, so that was like its whole thing of itself. And then after I went, the kid went, and I was hyping up the kid, but and then I stopped, and I was like, whoa, this kid is actually really good. And then, you know, long story short, that's where my passion began. I lost that battle. Jaden won.
That's how you know you a small one for real.
No, I mean, the smallest of the small ones won. So, so ever since then, you know, I started dancing a lot more, you know, practicing. I went to this community center called Harambe. I practiced there, taught a lot of kids, taught a lot of people. You should teach classes there as well. And then ever since then, I moved into the battle scene, competing and winning battles, judging, hosting, you know, emceeing, the whole 9 yards and stuff like that. And I really felt like I stepped out of my box and became more of an extrovert at that point. And that really built a lot of confidence in myself. And then And then going through dance and going through the phases, you know, it's where I met Corey.
Yep.
You know,
the big
love of my life.
Yeah, pretty much, guys.
And then got into photography, and here I am, you know, pursuing photography full time, making a production company, and opening our own studio.
Yeah.
And, you know.
No,
yeah,
so one thing I don't know if I've actually, I mean, you know, me and John will always have talks about, you know, we'll sit down and talk about stuff, but
Right.
I don't know if I've actually asked you, like, when it comes to dancing, like, do you miss it? I know you're, you know, you're still doing it here and there, but
Yeah.
I know you're more involved with what we do, but
Right.
do you miss dance more?
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I do miss dance a lot because you know you have a passion for something when you haven't done it in a while, and then you have like a certain like urge or itch. You know, you're like, man, I really need to do this because I haven't done it in a long time. You know, that's where dance is for me. Like, you know, I would record freestyles, post it on my Instagram every now and then, but there's a lot of times where I don't post and I'm just dancing like in my room, or you know, I dance with Robin or any of my other dancer friends, you know, just to let that urge out. And a lot of times, you know, that is not recorded, but when I do record and I look back at the footage, I'm like, man, you know, I can see like myself as a professional dancer because I can see, I obviously like study other professional dancers and what they do and how they move to music and the musicality in general. I'm like, man, I'm pretty close to that. Obviously, I don't have the same technique that they have, you know, going through classes, going through the same routines and really expanding their horizon. But like, I'm like, man, the foundation and everything's there, like foundation wise. And I'm like, man, you know, I could have lived a whole different life.
Yeah.
So sometimes, yeah, I do miss it. And I do it every now and then. I still think I want to like venture out a little bit more into that, but as far as like a career goes, I actually want to use what I've learned in dance, because all that knowledge for all those years like really does come in handy. Like when we do our production, we had some dancers, even non-dancers, like I could tell by their body language like how that is gonna correlate into the actual video. If you look awkward, if you're not moving that much, obviously it's gonna come off to the viewer like you're scared, or you know, you don't have that much confidence, even though the music is really like speaking to them in a whole different way. So you really need to match that vibe.
Yeah.
So on the shoot, on set, I see that, and then I'm like, you know, I coach them. I'm like, you know,
yeah, like that is definitely one of the things like I've noticed about you, and we've talked about this a little bit, not like too much, but I'd say that's key, because you know, with you being the assistant director, you're already killing the job, because like since I'm camera operator and I'm not able to hype them up like that, I would say you're a way better hype man than I could ever be anyways. Like, and people love that, you know, like people, like the artists we work with already mentioned that. They're like, you know, I appreciate how you're doing that. And I was like,
they compliment it.
Yeah, they compliment it, and that's a good thing, you know, and that's why I said, like, with your dance, and I'd say, like, coming from dance, like, it definitely makes you already a hype guy, a hype man or something, you know? So, like, that transcodes over to like what we're doing now, you know, with filmmaking and music production. Like, you're able to take that and still hype up people, and that helps a lot with our production. And I think that's also why a lot of our artists, the work that we work with, feel more comfortable, because you're hyping them up, and you're telling them exactly what we want from them, but in a more hype way, and that helps.
And that sets us apart from like other production crews and other people that they work with too, because they don't get that. You know, even with models too, but especially with artists when we're shooting music videos, you know, the person behind the camera expects the artist to do the whole work. You know, they expect them to like hype themselves up, get into that place. But they don't know it's a two-way street, you know, and that's where we come in.
I agree, like, totally. Like, honestly, like, that's the role of the director. Like, I mean, the director is there to direct. Like, if we're not doing our jobs, like I said, I mean, you're helping me a lot because I'm pretty much telling you exactly what I want, but you're also, you're telling it what I want, but adding on to it, and that helps a lot, and like I said, we're doing our jobs. Maybe some people aren't doing it exactly the way we go about things, but I feel like the way we've gone about things already, people love it, and that's why we do get a lot of compliments on wow, this was so professional, and then with you, like, oh yeah, like, I love how you hype me up like that, like this is what we need on productions, like going back to what we were talking about with models. Well, we can talk more about that maybe on another episode, but that is super important because sometimes with models and such, like, they're shy and they're not comfortable, especially if they're working with somebody new. So
no matter how much you hype them,
no matter,
it doesn't make
exactly, so I mean, direction is always key to everything. So I mean, like you said, appreciate always the help. Always the help, guys. So
that yin and yang. Let's get it.
Okay, so guys, like our whole show, we had some segment breaks, and we are going on a little bit longer than we should be. So I think what we will do is we'll cut these segment breaks, and we'll do that. That's a good idea. Maybe we'll do that on another show.
Maybe with our first guest.
Yeah, maybe with our first guest, we'll figure that out. But we're talking so much, and we don't want to bore you guys. So, and we still have a few more topics to talk about. So, we're gonna skip the segment breaks. We'll get into what the segment breaks will be on the next episode. But let's try to kill this out first. So, we want to get into the move from LA, or the move to LA from Seattle, which is our both our hometowns. So, yeah, I mean, how for you, like, I mean, of course we've talked about it a lot, but like, how was it for you moving down here?
Let me start from beginning before we even moved. Obviously, we've talked about it a lot. I was really hesitant about moving back to California because, I've been in and out of California and I kind of know what to expect. I've only visited LA once before actually moving here, so I don't really know too much about LA, but I know the California weather and stuff like that. Me being an introvert, down at the core, I like to stay inside. I like to wear hoodies, I like to wear, pants, and moving into a sunny place, wearing shorts and shirts and stuff like that and showing more of your body was like the total opposite of who I am. So I was totally against it. But moving into the photography and, having a lot of sit-down talks with Corey, I came to the realization that, like, if I really wanted to take that next step in life in my career, then I need to take a risk and take that leap. And LA was definitely that leap for me. And I knew if I didn't take this leap right now, me in 20 years would regret not taking that leap. Even though if it doesn't work out, worst comes to worst, if it doesn't work out, at least I could say that I did it. And I know that, like, my older self would thank me for that instead of living with that regret of, like, man, what could have happened? If that could have, because I already had that regret with dance, right? Like, I was so encompassed into dance, and I knew I could have made it as a professional dancer, but I didn't actually pursue it. And now I am, well, at the time before moving to LA, I was already regretting that. And I was like, man, if I really stuck with dance, who would I would have been at this time? And here coming up with photography is like a round two for me. And I didn't want to hold that same regret when it was presented right in front of me. So after talking with Corey a few times, I was like, man, yeah, I think we could really do it. So yeah, we moved to LA. The transition from LA to Seattle obviously was tough. lot of money, a lot of coordination. Him and his pops had to like take the U-Haul down, and I drove on my own car with my own things, and that was a whole big thing. Trying to find a place because a lot of places didn't want to do anything online. They wanted us to fill out everything in person. So that's why, luckily, me being in the medical field, I was able to apply to a job down here and actually secure it. So I moved down first and moved all our stuff down, and then I was able to stay with a friend. His name is Celestine. Shout out to Celestine because we wouldn't have been here without him. He was actually in charge of the dance recreational center that I mentioned earlier, and he actually let me stay at his place for 2 weeks, but I didn't want to overstay my welcome, so I only stayed there for like a week and a half. I was really trying to find a place to stay. I was just using his place, in the meantime, because nobody wanted to do anything online, so I had to, go to open houses and stuff like that. And Corey was back in Seattle. He was still trying to land a job as well. So that was a whole like on the fly type of thing. We didn't really have a stable place to stay. I had my job. He didn't have his job yet. So there was a whole risk thing, which is like totally against anything that I've done. But I knew, that it was going to work out some way, somehow. And look where we are.
Yeah. I mean, look, honestly, like going back to it, like I mentioned before, like moving to LA was one of my goals. And,
right.
I had gone through the process since like 2015, and, things have failed since then. I wasn't able to move down here when I wanted to, guys. But I already knew, with me graduating film school in 2019, I was already preparing, I was preparing you already. I was like, bro, like, I'm already trying to move down here in 2019. Like, I know for sure I'm going to get a job.
Right.
I finished film school, blah, blah, blah,
Right.
And it was a thing with me and John because he was scared at first. And I understand, like, it's hard moving from your home city, Even though we are, like, only two cities apart from Washington,
right.
It's still, like, we're leaving our families and...
I never moved out before.
That's
either.
What I'm saying.
I lived with my parents.
Yeah.
This is my first time moving out, let alone moving out to a different state on my own. So,
yeah. No. I mean, and that's one thing me and John had gone through a lot. Like, it took a lot of convincing to convince him. He even told me, he had to ask other people, and
right.
They also said the same exact thing I said.
Right.
Like you gotta go for it because you just never know what's gonna happen. Like, maybe the good things are gonna happen. Maybe you're not gonna. Yeah, maybe you're not gonna be successful. But I always was positive about moving down here. I was always positive about good things happening down here.
Right.
And that's just my mentality. He knows this. He knows I'm like one of the most positive people you'll ever know because that's just who I am. Like I said, like I never try to think of any of the negative. Of course, I do have like negative things in my mind sometimes. Realistically, but like I always try to be positive about the good side of things. And I already knew I was like, if we get jobs down here, we're gonna be good.
Yeah,
and that's pretty much what happened. John was able to get a job before me, and I spent a while. Like, I graduated in June 2019. I was still trying to apply for jobs. I had literally like 10 plus interviews, but the fact that they knew I was still in Seattle was a thing they didn't want to deal with.
Yeah.
And luckily, I actually ended up getting an interview for a videographer position with a brand, and they didn't necessarily care that I was from a different state. They loved the work I was doing already, so, and that's what mattered most. So, I'm super thankful for landing that because that's pretty much what got me down here, and guys, like I said, I told John like many times, I was like, we are going to be successful down here. I know things are going to go good down here. LA is a place where, will achieve your dreams as long as you work hard for it. And I told him that so many times, and that was just a mentality that's always been in my head,
right.
you know. And I'm glad it translated over to him, and he believed in what, you know, the vision I was seeing with things, you know. So,
right.
But yeah, you know, like the move here was honestly amazing. It, of course, you know, it's hard leaving, you know, home,
right.
You know, being away from family, because that's where I was born, you know, and everything. So it's definitely hard.
Yeah.
But honestly, like, I just love being here in LA.
I do too.
I won't rep LA, and you know this. I won't rep for LA, like, no sports teams or anything like that. I just love living here and being able to pursue my goals. Like, Seattle is where it's at. Like, that's our home. I will always rep for Seattle. And as you guys can see from our Artistry Drop logo, we still repping for Seattle, you know, like, that's our home, you know. But of course, I love living here in LA. I met my girlfriend, you know, Rachel. She's amazing and stuff like that. So, you know, and everything is, like, I've never had really one bad thing go wrong here in LA except for COVID. No, and COVID. Yeah. Like, we'll talk about that
everywhere.
Yeah, that happened everywhere, you know. But we'll talk about that in a bit. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, honestly, moving here to LA was worth it. Like, we took the leap of faith, and look where we are now. Yeah. You know, I mean, I know you aren't necessarily in where you want to be right now, but you're gonna get there. Right. Like, we're working towards it.
Oh, it's already worth it. From, even though I'm not into the industry that I'm working towards right now, but like, if we wouldn't have moved here, think about all the brand deals we've had.
Exactly.
Think about,
so many guys. Like, it's crazy.
All the connections that we've made, like all the people that we've met. It's just like, and we've only been here for 2 years. Yeah. Like, imagine, like,
2 years is long, though.
It is long. It is long. Imagine where we're gonna be at when we hit our 5-year mark. You know, it's constant grind every day. You know, it's like, it definitely moves faster, but I think we're on the right path since we're still young. You know, I think once we get to that retirement stage, we're gonna look back. You know, Corey's already there, but once I look back, I'm gonna be like, okay, we did good. We did good.
No, I mean, like I said, like, this was totally worth it, and I knew things were gonna go good for us. You know, but for me, I mean, like, you know, with us being down here like 2 years already, like, what would you say you miss most about being back home in Seattle? Like, what do you miss about being in Seattle?
I mean, I definitely miss the fact of, like, knowing where I'm going and, like, going to my favorite food spots or drinking spots, bars, clubs, and stuff like that. Because me growing up and being in and out of California and Washington, I moved, like, every 2 years in elementary and even middle school. So I never had a stable group of friends, a group of place that I usually go to. You know, I was going to so many different places. So being in Seattle for most of my life felt comfortable, and I liked that fact of, like, not changing and stuff like that. So that's one thing that I do miss. Definitely miss the most, besides my family. You know, the food places. I definitely miss the food.
Hey, I mean, Seattle is known for a lot of good food. That's, you know, that is.
LA got some good food too.
No, they do. Yeah, they do. No, we definitely not hating on LA, but it's like, when you grow up with something specific, and now we don't have that here, it's like, damn, we miss that shit.
Right, like a hometown food.
Exactly. You know, so I mean, I mean, for me, you know, like, I would definitely say family.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
Family and friends I grew up with.
Friends,
yeah, you know, and Morley family, I would just say. Like, all my family is from Seattle,
right?
And, you know, my dog is with my parents. You know, Lucky.
Yeah. Lucky.
And, you know,
he loves his dog.
Oh, I love my dog. Yeah. Like, honestly, I miss him so much. Like, I wish we could have brought him here with us, but you know, he definitely loves my parents, his grandparents. You know, so no, and my parents love him as well. They treat him. You know, unfortunately, we did lose, you know, our family dog, which was my parents' dog, Simba. We lost him earlier this year.
And those dogs were like brothers.
They were, and that's the thing, you know, and That's why right now it's hard for my parents to let go of Lucky and let him come down here because, you know, they lost their own dog.
Right.
And I totally understand that, you know, and Lucky was the first dog in the family anyways, you know, even though he was mine, he's the first dog, you know, so it's like we're sharing him, but he's still my son, you know, like he's still my dog, you know, but yeah, no, honestly, I'd say the one thing I miss about Seattle is just my family. Like I miss my family. Seeing you know, seeing them all the time, but definitely I would agree with the food and the sights. Like guys, Seattle's beautiful. Like Seattle is beautiful. Like we have so much scenery there versus here in so much water, you know, like versus here in LA it's just dry. You just see mountains. Like it's just a big ass city. Like
over there's a lot more green. A lot more forest. You know.
It's just beautiful in Seattle, guys. Like if you haven't gone, you need to go now. Like trust me, like growing up there and, you know, just being around everything, like Seattle's a beautiful city. And you know, that's
as far as entertainment too, it's on the come up.
It is
compared to like LA and New York, you know, they say the Seattle is next on the come up.
It is. Yeah, I would agree. I mean, you know, we finally got our first hockey team, the Kraken.
Just need a basketball team.
We're trying to bring back the Sonics, you know, but of course we got our Seahawks. That's like one of the biggest teams in Seattle, and we rep for them hard, you know. I'm watching a lot of Kraken now, like with the preseasons, and guys, like hockey was never something I was into, but now after watching the Kraken, I'm like, damn, these games are hype. You got, if you haven't watched it, you need to watch it already. See, like you gotta watch a game with me, but they're fucking fun. Like it's almost just like watching football. But it's faster pace. It's a lot faster pace, I would say, but it's fun. But
and I would say like back at home, people rep the Seahawks hard compared to like people here. You know, I know there's like, you know, it's kind of divided, but like like when you go downtown Seattle, everything's blue and green. People are projecting, you know, the Seahawks flag and everything, and it's like, and
the whole city, all of downtown is all lit up green and blue. And
you don't see that here in LA.
No, that's true. And you know what they do say about you know, CenturyLink or Lumen Field now. What they say about Lumen Field, where the Seahawks play, is it's the loudest stadium in the States. You know, so it's one of the hardest places to play, you know, any team to play at, which, you know, we should feel good about. Like that, you know, we repping for. Yeah, it is, you know, so like, honestly, like repping for Seattle and all that, like that's why we still do it, because we love Seattle. We grew up with everything. Everything is amazing in Seattle. So like I said, like I miss everything about it.
It's almost like an underdog coming into the major leagues. You know, it's just like nobody gives the credit, you know, that Seattle deserves, but we know, being from Seattle, that it has everything it needs to be the big dog. You know, so just rooting for that undercard slot, you know, I believe, you know, they're going to be there.
You know what? Another thing is, I see other big influencers on Instagram, you know, they'll post their photos in front of the Pike Place, and they even say, like, Seattle's beautiful, like, or they miss Seattle, and they're from here in California. That just shows you how beautiful Seattle is, you know, like, that's the thing. And like I said, if you're born and raised in Seattle and you're living in a different state like us, like, I guarantee you anybody is going to miss home. Like, it's just such a beautiful city.
You know, side story, I went to the mall today. I went to, like, a gym store, got some gym shorts, and I was actually checking out with the clerk there, and she was actually moving to Mill Creek out in Everett.
Oh, what the heck?
Yeah, and she was like, you know, I've always wanted to live in Washington.
Wait, how did that conversation start, though?
I forgot. She mentioned something about going to... Oh, I asked about if they have any... the company's called Fabletics, and I was like,
Fabletics, okay.
Yeah, I was like, do you guys have any stores in Washington? Because I was thinking about getting gifts for other people when I go visit in December. And she's like, yeah, we have one in Washington. I'm actually, like, moving out there and stuff like that. And then that's when I said, you know, I'm from Seattle, and then we started getting conversation. And
that's dope. Actually, you know, that's happened to me a couple times. You know, the 7-Eleven we usually go to. Over here. So there, I was getting some alcohol, and, you know, showed them my ID. They're like, oh, you're from Seattle? I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, I went to school in like Everett. I was like, oh, really? That's dope. I was like, are you originally from Everett? He's like, no, I'm from here, but I moved over there and it's beautiful.
Oh, okay.
There you go. You know,
Exactly.
people that move from like different states over to Seattle, you already know they're gonna think it's beautiful.
Right.
You know, it's such a peaceful city to live in. You know, of course we have our crime and all that, but other than that, like it's very low and it's overall I just miss Seattle. But I just know for us being here in LA, this is where we are for work.
Yeah.
You know, this is the only reason why we're out here is because of our career.
Right.
Other than that, like if we had a different career path, we could do it in Seattle. But this is the perfect place.
For me, like I know that I'm here for work. Yeah, eventually I want to buy a house and retire in Seattle. That's always my home.
Me too.
But I know to make the connection and build my career to the fullest extent, you know, we need to be here.
Exactly. And no, you know, like that's another thing I've already thought about too. Is like I wanna buy a house in Seattle, like somewhere near, you know, the Puget Sound, like just a house. Yeah, you know, where like Russell lives or Bill Gates, where they have their house. You know, something like that. Like that'd be amazing. You know, and I of course I want to like retire there, but I also want to have a house here too because I love LA. Like the LA vibes is crazy. Like, you know, just it's different than Seattle, of course, but I'd say living here, there's just so much more than Seattle.
More to do.
More to do. Like I said, Seattle is such a peaceful place, and we don't have necessarily as much as LA here.
Definitely,
you know?
less fast paced.
Less fast paced. Like guys, you got Disneyland, you got Universal, like everything's here, you know, like there's just so much to do, and you got the beautiful beaches. In Seattle, we don't have that, guys. So I mean, that's the downside of Seattle, but other than that, like we got all 4 seasons. It's beautiful. And you know, like one thing I would say I miss about like Seattle is having the 4 seasons, because like on days when you want it to rain, it doesn't rain here. It's like rare, you know, and it's just nice having those days where you can just lay in bed, relax, and you know, have those rain.
Wear a hoodie.
Yeah, be lazy. But guys, it's like hot all the time here, except this time of the year. Like we're almost at the time of the year where it's like, you know, the temperature's going down.
Mid-October.
Yeah, mid-October, we're able to relax. Electricity's cheaper. So, you know, that's another thing. So, but yeah, like I miss home. I miss the family and everything. So, but you know, I do love LA. But all right, guys. Unfortunately, another technical issue. We're gonna try to sort this stuff out later. But we're gonna go ahead and get back into what we were kind of talking about. So yeah, the whole move from Seattle and everything. What would you say is the most, like your most favorite restaurant that you miss that we can't have here?
The most favorite. I don't think I have the most favorite, because I always go to a restaurant of what I'm feeling. If I'm feeling, you know, burgers, you know, I'll go to Dick's or something like Dick's Burgers, and something like that. Or if I'm feeling sushi, you know, I go to Japanesa downtown Seattle, stuff like that. But yeah, one thing that I do miss that we don't have here. That's pretty hard. What were yours? Then maybe I could build.
You should already know what.
Oh, I already know. Yeah.
So we have a place called Mizu, and me and John literally go there all the time back home in Seattle. Like
at least once a month.
Yeah, at least once or twice a month sometimes. Yeah. But it's pretty much a Japanese grill or a Japanese steakhouse.
Steakhouse, yeah.
Yeah, steakhouse, and God, I miss the food there, and
we're going there.
Yeah, we're going there for sure.
This
year. Yeah, we're going.
Last year they were closed because of COVID.
Yeah, so no, I'm excited to go back and just eat the food again. Like it was amazing, and I know they got places around here in LA that do that, but it just does not compare. Like I've already tried other Japanese steakhouses, and Mizu is just the one. Yeah, that's the one.
Oh, now that you brought that up, does remind me of one place. It's a hole in the wall, and I'm probably gonna regret this if this like goes big, because not a lot of people know about this. It's in Renton. It's called Burnett's. It's a bar, and they're the first bar that I know of that has fish sauce chicken wings, and they give you it with a side of rice and a salad. So this
Does it smell bad?
I mean, yeah, fish sauce does smell bad.
It does.
You know?
That's the thing that bothers me.
Yeah,
about fish sauce.
but they grill it with some jalapenos and some onions and stuff like that. I don't know what else they put in there, but when you bite into it, it's crunchy. You know, it's like some Asian wings, and the fact that they give you rice and it's owned by like Vietnamese, Asian folks, like it's so like of a wholesome, like hole in the wall place. They sell alcohol there too, and they always fill it up like super high. And me and my friends who grew up there always go there, and you know, it's always busy too. And every time you go there, you know somebody there, and it's like that's one of my places that I go to. And I brought my ex from that lived here, was born and raised here, and
in LA or
yeah, Iris.
Oh, Iris. Okay,
I brought her, you know, from here, and we went to Seattle, and she tried them, and she couldn't stop talking about them. Like when we came back, and she was like, "Yeah, we need to go back." You know, I told you.
No, I mean it's the same way with Rachel. You know, I took her to Museum. I took her to other places back home in Seattle, and she loves it. Like, like I said, you know, it's such a different vibe. Like in Seattle versus LA. Bigfoot travel. Oh, she loves big. Every time we were there. So we were there from like July. We were there in July for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
She wanted Bigfoot every day. Yeah. So we were literally getting it every day, and that's a big difference that we don't have here in LA. Is we don't have like little coffee, like, you know,
kiosks.
There's no coffee stands here in LA, which is crazy. And we were confused at first. You know, we were like, where are the coffee stands?
They only have Coffee Leaf, 10-speed coffee, which is like walking coffee, but you know, no driving kiosks that you could do like back home.
So definitely miss those.
Yeah, I do miss those.
But yeah, I mean, you know, like that's definitely key things that I miss about, you know, Seattle and stuff.
For sure.
So, but so we're about to end our show very soon. We just want to touch on a couple more things before we end it. We want to talk about the pandemic. So, you know, it's a big topic. We're not going to go too much into it. We just kind of want to talk about like what it did for us, what it didn't do for us, how it fucked up things for us and stuff like that. But you know, it's crazy because we moved here nearly the end of 2019, and then COVID pretty much hit in the beginning of 2020.
We didn't have much time to explore LA.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it kind of ruined things for us. But I'll kind of touch on what it did for me. Okay. You know, I got my job, had it for a few months, and then guys, COVID hit. Yeah. Obviously, like the majority of people.
What jobs?
I had a videographer position. That's how I was able to move down here. You know, I was the videographer for a women's leggings brand or a fitness brand, you know, and stuff like that. So, you know, it paid good. Yeah. And, you know, that's why...
since it was a small company.
It was a small company. Yeah. It was a come-up company. And, you know, that was the issue. And that's why, you know, when the pandemic hit, I didn't necessarily think too much of it. And, you know, it came to the point just like a lot of people...
Nobody knew.
Yeah, nobody knew. You know, they had to let me go. It wasn't one of those jobs where it was needed. Right. You know, and that was the thing that sucked. I was stunned, and I was... Of course, you know, like everybody else, what are we going to do? Right. You know, we literally just moved down here and it sucked, you know. Right. And, you know, of course, unemployment helped a little bit. But, you know, I was trying to find ways to be creative, you know. Me and Rachel, we started, you know, her own designer brand, Lux Fishing. We started streaming. We're doing, you know, photo shoots a little bit more after the pandemic. But, you know, honestly...
Trying to be flexible.
Yeah, exactly. You know, we're just trying to figure out things to be creative with, but also trying to...
Amazon.
Yeah, that's another thing. I started an Amazon company and, you know, going through the whole private label thing and FBA. Like, honestly, like, I was just trying to find ways to, you know, get money. Right. You know, it was a hard time for everybody, including me, you know, and I didn't think I'd ever be in a position like that. And it sucked, you know, but honestly, like, I've thought about COVID too, and I think of the brighter thing The
Things.
brighter thing of things.
Thing of-
Yeah, so I think of the brighter things of every side. So fuck you. So okay, so yeah, so I like I said, I had to find different ways to make income. Unemployment was okay for a while, especially with the add-ons they were giving. I was making, almost equal to what I was making with my job, which was nice, but it still wasn't enough. But, I was thinking a lot of bigger things when COVID hit. Like, I was thinking, like, wow, I can actually do something more than working for an employer and blah, blah, blah.
Because that was your first job.
In the industry, like trying to, like, it was my first job in, like, being not really, I'd say film, but like in videographer, photographer position,
and
like
moving from a different state.
Exactly,
that's
and
a big step.
it's a big step, so I'd say, like, it opened my eyes. Like, COVID definitely opened my eyes to things that I would actually be able to do more of and make use of than being, like, down about everything. Of course, like, there's a lot of things that go through people's head, like they're on unemployment and stuff like that, and like, it is what it is. Like, it was none of our faults. It was a pandemic. Everybody went through it. And it sucked. But honestly, I saw the brighter thing of things.
Brighter side of things.
Brighter side of things. So but yeah, like, I was able to still make it through it, and great things happened this year. I was able to, even though it did take a minute, I finally landed a position in the film industry, like opening.
And tell them how long you were applying. How many
guys,
months?
like, honestly, like, I would say, once the pandemic hit, like, it hit beginning of the year, I started applying for jobs probably August 2020, when things started opening up, and I applied for hundreds of jobs. And even though people had job openings, I think they were being, like,
hesitant.
Not just that, they were also looking for somebody with specific. Maybe I wasn't able to give them what they wanted, stuff like that. But
because it was such a gray area, like, even in an industry, they wanted something more, like, stable. Somebody already super established, who has a big following. Has 20 plus experience type of thing.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like, I was still just getting into it since I graduated film school, and it was hard, but I didn't let that stop me from trying to apply. I kept applying, still doing our side thing with streaming, and still trying to make some income and stuff like that, and doing what I can. Like, that's what you have to be creative when it comes to getting income. If you're not, you're not gonna get any money. Like, you have to find ways to make money. Like, just don't sit around and be lazy. Like, find ways. That's the thing, and that's what I was trying to do. And but like I said, it took a while, but I finally landed a job in the film industry with the Academy. Being a part of the museum and that team, working on the media production. So every single montage you see, we've worked on, and it's crazy. Like, it's an amazing experience being part of the Academy, the Oscars. Like, I would have never thought I'd have the opportunity to work for them, and I've been super happy with them,
and proud of you.
Yes. Oh,
that's
thank
a long
you.
way.
Thank you. Yeah, so, like, I mean, like I said, like, even though COVID did ruin, like, job opportunities at first, I came back.
And you were going through it too.
Yeah, I was going through it, like, I mean, of course, me and you had talks about it and stuff like that, and I was always trying to stay positive about things. Like, I was never trying to put any of us in a specific way, especially when it comes to living situations. We won't get into that, but it was hard at first. But look where we are now. We coming back, we coming up, and things are getting better. And I'm happy we're finally doing what we talked about doing. And
exactly.
I'm
Imagine
excited.
if COVID haven't hit.
Yeah.
We would have started at this place. Last year.
That's what I'm saying.
And imagine where we would be at this year.
Yeah, exactly. It would have been bigger, but it is what it is now. Like, we're starting it, and we're gonna continue running with it.
But I think, like, being born and raised from Seattle really gave us a strong foundation to really go through this, because people who didn't have a strong foundation, like definitely like flopped or like went through like more of a depression route. I feel like, you know, because that was everything to them, and they didn't know how to react. But since we came from a different place and have a good foundation, I think we were flexible enough to like move around it. You know, for me during the pandemic, it was definitely, I was grateful enough to be in the medical field, so I didn't lose my job. But, you know, it did affect me like emotionally and psychologically. You know, we were drinking like all the time.
Guys, that's
every weekend.
So that's the issue. Another issue I have about COVID, guys. I gained a lot of weight.
Yeah, that's
like,
exactly
during COVID,
where I was gonna
like,
point. I gained so much weight. I was the heaviest I've ever been. We were both the heaviest.
Yeah, honestly.
Drinking, eating, you know, we did not care. Nothing was open. We couldn't go outside. We couldn't go to a bar. We couldn't go to a club. You know, so we were drinking at the house, doing whatever, you know. Drinking
a lot. We would literally buy like 24 packs of beer and just drink that shit every day. Like,
whole bottle.
Guys,
finish it all.
Yeah, no, it was bad, man. It was definitely probably the fattest I've been in a long time. Like, guys, I was a big boy back then, and then I got skinnier. COVID hit now, and I gained back the weight. So, you know, I'm working on it. You know, John has been working on it. He's doing a great job, you know. So, you know, I've definitely cut back on the drinking from what we were doing during COVID. You know, so I've lost quite a bit from that, but I'm still working on it. John is doing a great job, and we're trying to get back to it.
Before COVID, I mean, at COVID, I was the heaviest I've ever been, 200 pounds. And, you know, when it came to that next year, I knew, like, something needed to change with things opening back up as well. You know, my weight has always been a big insecurity of mine, even back at Seattle. You know, I feel like that's why I was so introverted and comfortable with living in Seattle, was because I was able to hide my insecurity, hide my fat with like bigger clothes.
You still sexy.
It's real.
You still sexy.
It's real. No. I'm just talking on the real. Like, I like wearing bigger clothes because it made me look skinny.
No,
you know,
oversized clothes are super comfortable. I love oversized
They're
clothes.
They're comfy too. They're comfy
super comfortable.
No doubt. But I would actually in Seattle avoid going to wild waves, like any water theme park, going to beaches and stuff like that, because I knew my friends would want to take off the shirt and go into the water, and me being insecure about my body, it's a no go. But yeah, being the biggest I was at COVID and coming around to the next year, I knew something needed to change. I focused on my diet, meal prep, worked out 3 times a week, and I was able to lose 30 pounds in 4 months. And that was one of my biggest achievements ever in my
proud of
life. Thank you. And, you know, coming back around, it's about 8 months of my journey. I'm still the same weight, because when you gain muscle is heavier than weight, so of course you're gonna weigh a little bit more. But when I go around on my next cut, you know, I'm hoping to get a 6-pack by this time of next year. So that's my next goal. But I've honestly never felt this healthy and this confident and this fit in my whole life. And honestly, it's amazing. And I feel like if I didn't move to LA, I would have never like experienced that. So yeah, shout out to
let's give him a round of applause, guys. No, honestly, I'm proud of you. You know, like, you know, that's great. You know, like, I'm still on the same path. You know, I'm not necessarily trying to gain a lot of muscles like you. Or I'm just trying to get back to being as skinny as I was before. And I gained a lot of weight. You know how skinny I was before in the past.
I see you buying the protein and
no, I'm still working out. No, I'm still working out, but it's just I'm not trying to gain a lot of muscle like you are. You know, like I'm just trying to get
that relationship way.
Oh God, no.
But we should talk about it. Like, me and him placed a bet.
Oh God.
Who can lose the most weight?
We did.
But last Thanksgiving, it was like, I think it's 3 months.
Yeah.
And at the time, I got a girlfriend and I gained weight, and he didn't have a girl. Well, he did. He had a.
We won't get into that.
Yeah, we won't get into that. But he was with somebody far away, long distance, so he was able to work out more often than I was.
Yeah.
But then I broke up with my ex, and I didn't have anyone, and he met somebody, and then. So I was able to work out more, and then by the time November of Thanksgiving came, we placed a bet. Whoever lost would buy the other person food, and I won by 1 pound less.
Oh God!
And I still talk about it to this day.
Hey, I mean, honestly, I won't lie. You did win that one, so
I did win.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
so. But, I mean, other than that, like I said, I only had a couple things. Gaining weight, losing my job. That was the thing that COVID messed up for me the most, but...
I think it mostly messed up us, emotionally and psychologically.
Yeah. That
we had to, rebuild ourselves, during that time.
Yeah.
But it honestly, was a good thing.
It was.
I feel like we definitely came out stronger.
Yeah. No, I agree, So, I'm not looking at the bad side of it at all, I'm definitely trying to be positive about everything. But
and none of us got COVID.
Yeah.
That's
good
news.
Yeah, no, it's great news, so we're all healthy and we're still continuing to grind, so but anyways guys, we are getting close to closing our show. But we want to talk about what's coming next for us. So I mean, we kind of already touched on it, and we mentioned about it, our production studio or production team and stuff like that. But yeah, the next big thing for us, I'd say, is our podcast. This podcast, the Artistry Drop. We're super excited to finally get this out there. Like we said, we've been planning on it for more than a year.
Yeah.
And we do got a great list of guests coming on, and we hope you guys will stick around for it. And listen to the podcast, be inspired. But yeah, I mean, anything else you want to add on?
Yeah, I mean, besides our podcast, I mean, obviously, this is a big milestone for us.
It is.
Having this podcast on for us, we've been talking about it for so long. To make that dream come to life is something we did with LA, and moving to LA is already a big milestone, but having this podcast is even a bigger milestone for us. It's gonna add on to what we represent and what we're trying to do as a photographer, as a YouTuber, as a production team. This encompasses everything that we are about, and we are trying to push this forward. So I hope you guys are here for the journey with our first podcast. And besides our podcast, we already touched upon this. Our production company is definitely something that we hold dearly to our hearts, because that's something we've been talking about for years before LA. While we're in Seattle, we wanted to do a big production and create our own company to where, we work with the artists that we've seen on big television, Chris Brown and, Tyga, that's little names, but anybody, that's always
those are big names.
Yeah, those are big names. Those are big names, but that's always been a dream for us. Also working on set with big movie productions. I was with a talent agency as well, so I saw what the industry what was the industry standard, and I feel like what we have here is definitely moving towards that industry standard, and I feel like we could bring even more than just the industry standard. I think that's why a lot of people who work with us, as far as our production company, wants to come back, and is wanting to do more videos, more work with us, because we bring something more than just industry standard, so podcast, production company, definitely our video photography studio. That's our own business. Why we moved down here. Other than that, we just out here trying to make it.
No, we out here in LA trying to make big things go on, you know. So, but guys, I hope you enjoyed our very first podcast. I know this might have been a little long, but you know, this, a little longer than we expected, but we did have a lot to speak on. We wanted you guys to get to know us a little bit better. But yeah, if you guys are not following us on Instagram, please follow us, the Artistry Drop. You guys will, you know, we'll keep you updated with everything new. If you guys are not subscribed to our channel here, please subscribe. Please smash that subscribe button, the like button, drop comments below, you know, ask us questions. Maybe we'll ask it on our podcast. We're also going to be making a Spotify. We'll keep you guys updated with, you know, our Spotify name and all that. But guys, we're excited for this. Hope to see you on the next one. All right, let's get it.
Yeah, let's go. The Artistry Drop.
The Artistry Drop. Let's go.
Let's go.